Foldable smartphones have been chasing two distinct dreams for a while now. One set wants to bring back the compact flip phone nostalgia with something modern. The other wants to turn your pocketable phone into a pocket-sized tablet, folding open into something big and beautiful. But Huawei's Pura X? It looked at both camps and said, why not both? With its unique sideways folding design, the Pura X blends the compactness of a flip phone with the usability of a landscape tablet, and somehow doesn't snap in two like your patience during a Monday morning. Let's dive into the clever engineering, sleek design, surprising power, and the slightly eyebrow-raising choices that make this one of the most exciting foldables we've seen in years. And hey, if tech this weird but wonderful gets you excited, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, because we're just getting started. A flip that folds sideways? Most flip-style foldables do what you'd expect. They flip vertically like a clamshell, compressing a tall smartphone into a pocket-friendly square. On the other end of the spectrum are book-style foldables, which unfold horizontally to reveal tablet-sized screens, like Samsung's Galaxy Z Fold series or the Huawei Mate X lineup. The Huawei Pura X, however, introduces a third way. Instead of opening vertically like a flip phone or horizontally like a book, the Pura X folds sideways into landscape orientation, almost like a miniature laptop screen. When shut, it looks like a chubby square with a 3.5-inch cover display, mimicking the footprint of a flip phone. But pop it open, and the inside transforms into a 6.3-inch 16:10 OLED panel, an aspect ratio far more common on tablets and laptops than on smartphones. This horizontal first fold is a complete design curveball, but it actually makes a ton of sense for how most people use their phones, for videos, browsing, games, and multitasking. Instead of compromising by splitting a tall screen across a hinge, you're holding a device optimized for landscape usage from the jump. It's a brilliant, why didn't anyone do this sooner moment. That 16:10 OLED screen hits the sweet spot. When unfolded, the Pura X reveals its 6.3-inch, 2120 by 1320 OLED screen, which might not sound huge compared to standard phones, but the wider 16:10 aspect ratio changes everything. It's noticeably shorter than the tall and skinny displays on other flip phones, but this allows for a more natural landscape view, perfect for watching movies, playing games, or using apps that thrive on horizontal space like YouTube, productivity tools, or even document readers. This screen is also no slouch when it comes to tech specs. It's a variable refresh rate LTPO panel, supporting 1 Hz to 120 Hz refresh, 1440 Hz PWM dimming for eye comfort, and up to a 300 Hz touch sampling rate. In plain English, it's buttery smooth, easy on the eyes, and fast enough to keep up with even the twitchiest of gamers or scrollers. This is the kind of panel that could make a person forget they're holding something experimental. And in an era where screen quality can make or break a foldable, Huawei is clearly not cutting corners here. Pocket-friendly design meets tablet-like functionality. One of the most fascinating parts about the Pura X is how compact it is when folded. Closed up, it measures just 91.7 by 74.3 by 15.1 mm, roughly the size of a thick wallet or a squashed banana. It's got that square flip phone footprint, making it super easy to slip into a pocket or bag, especially compared to the often chunky book-style foldables. But when unfolded, you get 143.2 by 91.7 by 7.2 meters of usable space, and a device that feels more like a tiny tablet than a phone. While it's smaller than, say, an iPad mini, the wide layout makes it feel much more suited to video, photo editing, and web browsing than your average candy bar smartphone. And if you need to type up a message or email, the sideways orientation means there's plenty of room for a more comfortable keyboard layout too. Cover display that isn't just for show. Let's not ignore the adorable 3.5-inch 980 by 980 cover screen either. It's a perfect square, something we rarely see in smartphones. And while it won't be great for long-term texting or web surfing, it's just the right size for quick glances, camera previews, notifications, or even controlling music and smart home functions. Its 1 to 120 Hz LTPO tech, 240 Hz touch sampling, and 1440 Hz PWM dimming means it's no slouch either. It may be small, but it's sharp, smooth, and usable. It also serves a key purpose, making the Pura X feel like a complete phone experience even when it's closed. Other foldables either have awkward outer displays or none at all, forcing you to flip or unfold them for anything more than checking the time. Not so with this one. Hardware: serious muscle in a small shell. Despite its compact origami-like footprint, The Huawei Pura X doesn't skimp on raw power. Base models ship with 12 GB of RAM and 256 GB of storage, while higher-end variants go up to 16 GB RAM and a whopping 1 TB of storage. That's laptop-grade capacity in a device that can literally fold in half and vanish into your jeans. It runs on HarmonyOS, Huawei's in-house operating system, and while that means no Google services, especially outside China, it also means Huawei's ecosystem continues to evolve independently. It might not be ideal for Western users, but it's a bold experiment in tech independence that's increasingly finding its footing in Eastern markets. The phone also sports a 4720 mAh battery, more than enough for a day of intense use, especially paired with 66-watt wired charging and 40-watt wireless charging. That's a serious improvement over other foldables that often have smaller cells due to space constraints. Cameras that don't fold under pressure. Foldables have long had a reputation for mediocre cameras. That's not the case here. The Pura X packs a 50-megapixel main sensor, a 40-megapixel ultra-wide, and an 8-megapixel 3.5x telephoto shooter, making it an incredibly versatile setup for a foldable. You're not just getting one good lens and some filler. This thing covers all your bases, from wide landscapes to zoomed-in portraits. On the front, there's a 10.7-megapixel selfie camera, which feels modest in raw specs, but should be more than enough for video calls and selfies, especially with the help of Huawei's usually solid image processing. The square cover display also allows for rear camera selfies, meaning your Instagram game just got a serious clarity upgrade. It's waterproof too? Now here's something shocking. IPX8 water resistance. Yes, a foldable phone with moving parts and hinges and flexible screens that's certified to survive underwater submersion. That's a huge win. Many foldables skip water resistance altogether, or only offer splash protection. Huawei clearly wants this to be a daily driver, not a delicate toy. Add in features like a USB 3.1 Gen 1 Type-C port, a side-mounted fingerprint sensor, and flagship-grade build quality, and you start to get the sense that this isn't just a novelty device, it's a legit powerhouse. The catch? It's not coming to the US. Now for the bitter pill. The Huawei Pura X won't be sold in the United States. Like most of Huawei's recent smartphones, the Pura X is launching in China, where it's priced starting at 7,499 Chinese yuan, about $1,037 US. And while that's still high, it's actually less expensive than most flagship foldables on the market, especially when you factor in the specs and innovations on offer. The lack of Google mobile services will also be a deal breaker for many global users, unless you're tech savvy enough to sideload workarounds or live entirely in Huawei's ecosystem. That said, this phone clearly isn't aimed at the US or EU market. It's a bold, homegrown experiment that doubles down on design, hardware, and user experience, without worrying too much about Western market limitation. The Huawei Pura X may not be the world's first foldable, but it might be the first to genuinely redefine what a foldable can be. With its landscape-first folding design, flagship specs, and balanced usability, it doesn't try to be a tiny tablet or just another flip phone. It forges its own path. While quirks like HarmonyOS and its China-only launch may limit who gets to use it, there's no denying that Huawei has made one of the most interesting, thoughtful, and well-executed foldables we've seen to date. It's not a gimmick. It's not a prototype. It's a glimpse into what foldables could become if manufacturers start designing around real use cases instead of trying to stretch a phone into a tablet. If you're into innovative hardware and want to see more phones daring to be different, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, because the foldable future just took a turn sideways, literally.